Welcome everybody to Bubbles with Bethany. I'm so excited this week, you guys. I have to tell you, I got some cool mom points this week, Tarek, with my daughter's friends. Like, wait a minute, that's not. Yes, it is. That's who it is. So I really am so appreciative of you being on, Tarek. Tarek is one of our PLG Platinum clients. He went from real estate investor to TV star to real estate mogul. I'm author now of Flip Your Life. If you don't already know who he is, you're going to check him out on the Flipping El Moussas. And do you have another show out right now, or that's the one that's out right now?
Yeah, so Flipping El Moussas, and then I have season 3 of Flipping 101 coming out, and I'm working on a few others right now, so there'll be some updates soon.
Always busy. And so we are so fortunate to have Tarek El Moussa here with us today because this is a busy dude. When we do meetings for the firm, we do them at 6 o'clock in the morning just so we can like nail him down for a minute. So
I can,
Tarek, thank you so much. Cheers to you for being here on Bubbles with Bethany. I so appreciate you. I have a lot of things I want to talk about, and I'm sure people are going to want to ask questions, and y'all get a chance, but I get to go first because it's my show. So, I want to talk about your book, and I want to talk about anything you want to promote. But first, I always like to start with asking all of my guests, what is your unique superpower? People see you on TV and they see your personality, and they've probably seen you speak and all of that, and they might have their ideas, but let's hear it from you, Tarek. What's your unique superpower?
I would say my unique superpower is I'm very intuitive. I do have a little bit of that ADHD, and I feel like I can feel and see things sometimes before others. So I really rely on my gut to help me make decisions.
I love that so much. I'm gonna admit, and this is probably not very PC of me to say, I'm gonna admit that I hear very few men use that. It's not use that. Have that be their superpower, right? You hear women say it all the time, and I love that so much because I think we could have it if we would just develop it. And I love that you listen to it.
Yeah,
Right.
well,
And so I'm sure that's helped you, right? In business, right? You're dealing with investors, you're dealing on TV and all the things. You've got a lot getting thrown at you all at one time. How does that help you in your
yeah.
business?
Well, I mean, my superpower is my intuition, right? But intuition isn't going to make money. So I would say my real superpower is my hustle. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get what I want. And that's just how I've been my entire life. And I think anyone has the ability to pretty much do anything they want if they're really putting in the work. And I think about this a lot, right? I think about all the people in the world. They want to be house flippers, they want to trade stocks, they want Amazon stores, they're joining masterminds and mentorships, and at the end of the day, they're not succeeding. Here's why: because it has nothing to do with what they're trying to do. It has everything to do with their discipline, with
Hmm.
their scheduling, with their doing what they're supposed to do. So.
Yeah, I find that in this, especially in our world, right, in this real estate world where you've got people they are maybe in a W-2 job and they're trying to just hustle out of that 9 to 5 rat race, right? And I do find that there's a lot of people in this space that they kind of hustle for the sake of hustling, like for a post or for a brag, right? And it's like you got to hustle at what matters, man,
Yeah,
and I think
hustle.
that's right. But you gotta hustle.
You gotta
And
hustle. There's no
it's
other way. Trust me,
right.
I've tried all the ways. There's no other way. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the hustle, where do you focus that hustle? 90% of that hustle needs to be focused on sales and acquisition. That's it. The rest you
Yeah.
can hire, the rest you can delegate, but when it comes to sales and acquisitions, you gotta hustle.
It's so true. And I love when we hear this message because it lets people know, yes, you gotta hustle, but you don't need to kill yourself for it, right? You hustle at what matters. You trade out the rest, you pick your lane, you stay in it. You find other people for all the other things, and you all hustle in your lane and you're gonna get further faster.
Yeah, and I'll say something about that real quick. So like honestly, looking back at my life, I probably wouldn't do it again. I'll be
You know?
honest. Like it's like I probably wouldn't. Like, I spent 10 years locked in an office making 600 cold calls a day. It's lonely, it's boring, it's scary, and it takes time, right? And it was just such a challenging experience. And today my goals and my dreams are so big. I'm still putting in, 14, 16 hour, 18-hour days, right? Because I'm so close to reaching what I'm trying to reach. But for most people, one, I don't suggest they do that. It's not very fun. And two, you don't need to do that because the truth is it's about consistency and it's about time in the market. So it's about doing a little bit every day over a long period of time. And if someone's out there investing just a little bit every year, man, by year 5, 6, 7, that's compounding. By year 14, oh my God, it's spinning. And next thing you know, you're uber wealthy just because you did the same thing every year with consistency.
Yes, consistency is key because you do, and I think there are probably a lot of entrepreneurs on here, yourself and myself included, where it's like that's hard. It's hard, especially you said you had ADHD. It's hard to focus on one thing when you're like, yeah, but that's so exciting over there. Starting over is exciting, right? It's exhausting. It won't get you very far, but it's exciting,
Yeah,
right?
it's very, very exciting, and
Yeah.
I tell people, I made money fast with real estate. You'll hear a lot of people it takes so much time and all these years, and no, I do not believe that. I changed my life with real estate in 90 days. I was a 20-year-old kid, couldn't put gas in my car, living in my mom's garage, sleeping next to my dirt bike. 90 days later, I almost bought $1 million house at 21 years old. And guess how I did it? 50 conversations a day. That's it. Anybody can change their life with 50 conversations a day. Now, well, how do you get to 50 conversations? Well, you're going to have to make hundreds of phone calls and knock on hundreds of doors. But if you're talking to 50 people a day, you're going to change your life. The problem is most people, um, it's just very difficult to do because it's frustrating. It's hard work. It beats you up. Sometimes people aren't very nice. But if you can get to the point where you just don't give a shit what they think or say, and you're doing it for you, you're going to win.
Yes, I just read something or saw a video, I'm sure it was a video posted where this woman did a sort of a rejection challenge. She just went out and asked for the most ridiculous, audacious stuff just to get rejected over and over and over. And she found that she ended up getting some really ridiculous opportunities as a result. She got rejected a bunch, right? And you
Yeah.
build
Oh,
that muscle of being able to get rejected, but then you just get these like crazy people look at you and think, "Oh, you're an overnight success." The
yeah.
part you see, maybe, but the
Yeah.
90 days thing, if correct me if I'm wrong, because I've heard you talk about this on stage before. You had a coach and a mentor guiding you, right? And I think that's so key for people on here. You do not need to go it alone. You got to do the work, but you don't have to go it alone.
No, going out alone is the worst thing you could do. Like, money is not our most valuable asset, right? You can get money.
Yeah.
Back. Time is our most valuable asset. If you can create shortcuts to get to where you want to go even faster, you do that every single time because time, again, is the one thing we'll never get back. So by plugging into someone that knows what they're doing, by plugging into a mentor, you're gonna you're gonna just find success so much faster. So my story was when I first got into real estate, 20-year-old kid, and I was doing what everybody did. I got my cubicle at my office. I made a couple flyers, a couple business cards,
Hmm.
put stickers on the side of my Buick. I did the whole thing. And guess what? Nobody called me. I didn't know what to do. I sat in open houses every day. People didn't want to talk to me, and I was like, man, this is the worst job. And then, I ended up going to a free training event, and this guy sold me on one-on-one coaching. At the time, I was broke. I was living in a garage, so I put $1,000 a month on my credit card, and I burned the boats. And what I did is, my coach said you have to talk to 20 people a day. I said, no way, I'm going to do 50. He told me there's no way you're going to do it. I'm a very competitive guy, so I did it. But here's one of the big ways I got through the pain of making those calls and that rejection. My goal was not to get real estate listings. My goal wasn't to make money. My goal wasn't even to find clients. I had one goal. My one goal, and I'm obsessive, by the way, was to talk to 50 people a day. That's it. So if I'm on like call 49, it's like, hi, this is Tarek with so and so real estate. Tarek, I hope you get hit by a bus. And they slam the phone on me. Do you think I'm mad, Bethany, or do you think I'm celebrating?
It counts.
I'm celebrating because I just hit 50 contacts and now I can go home for the day because my rule was I wasn't allowed to go home until I talked to 50 people.
I love that. And then you build up that muscle and you build up that thick skin of getting rejected, right? Because it's going to happen. Like we all get rejected, you know?
Listen, life is all about tricking ourselves to do the
Yeah.
stuff we don't want to do. And that's the truth. How can we trick ourselves to do the things we don't want to do? Like, like even to this day, I trick myself. I put little post-it notes all over different places to remind me of things I got to do. Like, oh, don't forget you're going to Cabo. Better not eat that cheeseburger later. I'm serious. It's on my literally on my mirror. Every morning I wake up, it says Cabo, 6 weeks. I'm like, oh, I gotta stay, I gotta keep dieting.
That's right. Yeah, got to keep it tight. I love that. No, it's good because you play these games with yourself, and it does it gamifies success, kind of, right?
Yeah.
I always joke that I use G I'm my internal compass, it's broken. It doesn't work. I don't know what to do. It doesn't work. I never know where I'm going. And so I use GPS all the time. But I make even that a game. I'm like 15 minutes, 13. Let's see. We can beat this, right?
Got a couple
And
tips
that's
through.
how you play it. It's you just gamify it, right? I love that. And it makes it more fun too. If we're not having fun, then what are we even doing?
Yeah, and then the biggest thing is it's we got to stop overthinking. And man, if you think about like flipping houses as an example, oh my gosh, you have buyers, you got sellers, you have title, you have escrow, you have permits, you have contractors, you have subcontractors, you got realtors, you got title, and well, it's overwhelming, right? Well, guess what? As an investor, that's not overwhelming for me. I'm going to hire an escrow officer. I'm going to hire a title rep. I'm going to hire a contractor,
Hmm.
right? I'm going to hire a realtor. So what do I have to do, you guys? I got to do one thing. I got to find a house.
Yeah.
And that's the magic about being an investor. If you got the hustle, and how do you find houses? There's only two ways, okay? It's pretty simple. Talk to people that own them and talk to people that sell them. That's how you buy houses.
Yeah. I love that you can simplify it too, because you teach a lot of people how to do this too, right? I mean, you've got homeschool and if you talk about that for just a second, like tell us about homeschool.
Yeah, like I told the story about that coach when I was a 20-year-old kid. I changed my life fast, so it's always been, a goal of mine to coach other people and give back and teach. And honestly, it's my favorite thing to do. I love coaching and watching people win. So a few years ago, I launched Homeschooled by Tarek, and it's my online real estate education program where I get on a few times a month and coach. And every Wednesday, we have our coaches throwing events. We have boot camps, we have live events, and it goes over all the stages of flipping a house. I call it the 4 F's. First F is you got to find it. Second F is you got to fund it. Third F is you got to fix it. Fourth F, you got to flip it. And as long as you just remember there's only 4 F's, it's going to simplify the process so you can find success. And it's the coolest thing to see, like, students that started me 2 years ago, starting their 16th or 17th flip, and it's like changing lives. It just feels so good.
I love that. And I would argue that you've got a third superpower that you didn't mention. So you've got your intuition, and that's amazing. And you've got your hustle, but you also have this uncanny ability to simplify things that might feel scary.
That's because I'm not real smart.
I don't know. I think that's a level of intelligence that a lot of people don't have. So I wouldn't, excuse me, I wouldn't sell yourself short there.
No, I'm just kidding. No, like, listen, I like simplifying things so you can understand them. Like sometimes I'll have a conversation with someone and I don't even know half the words they're using. So,
Well, speaking of, because I just did
talking
that
to
to you a
you,
minute ago.
Bethany, say that one more time in English, please.
Sorry, you're making me cough. So, okay, so speaking of that, I always have these clunky transitions to my second question every week. And this time, the clunky transition is to ask you, because I talk about conscious wealth all the time. And don't worry, because conscious wealth means something different to literally everyone. It's one of those, like I call them God words. Like God means something different depending on who you ask, right? That it's whatever you call it, it means something different. Conscious wealth, I think, is the same thing. And so I just want to know, creating wealth consciously, mindfully, what does that mean for you? Why?
Oh, I mean, well, without it, how do we live? For me,
Hmm.
that's number one. Like, we have to pay for housing, we have to pay for food, we have to pay for cars, we got to pay for clothes, we got to pay for kids, we got to, all of this takes what? Money. So I don't want to go out there, work like a dog to make X amount of money, and then all of that money's gone, and every week I start back at zero. I am not interested in doing that. So because I don't want to do that, and because I want to live an incredible life, I got to focus on building wealth. And building wealth is it's actually the simplest thing in the world. None of us do it because we're all short term. We always think in the short term. The way to build wealth is doing the exact same thing over a long period of time and let the thing grow. That's it.
Yeah, and it's you're back to that focused effort again, right? And that is the consistent message, it sounds like, is that focused effort, the discipline, and more than discipline too. I think you're right. It's a little bit of patience. But it is that focus, that determination, and the ability to sort of put on those blinders, right, to all the shiny things out here. Because I mean, I fall into that trap too, where I'm like, "Ooh, that looks fun," you know. And
Yeah.
so it's hard to stay focused, unless it's hard unless you recognize your why, right? Unless you recognize, like, why am I even doing this? Well, now it's pretty easy to stay focused because I'm doing it for a reason. And I think that's something that a lot of people are missing, right? Is they don't know exactly what they want. Because I don't think it's enough, in my opinion, it's not enough to just want to make a lot of money. That's not all that deep, right? You gotta have some reason behind it, right? And then some motivation, and then that'll keep driving you, I think. Right?
There's gotta be something fueling you. And I say it all the time. It is always hardest at the beginning. It is always hardest at the beginning. But guess what? Once you get it, you got it. And once you got it, you have it forever. Meaning, like if you spend a year to learn how to be an investor, or 6 months, or even 2 years, or I don't give a shit, 4 years. Well, guess what? For the next 50 years, you know what to do. So you
Yeah.
just got to be able to make it through the initial pain. That's it. We have to be stronger and we got to make it through that pain. And I'm a guy that performs when the pain becomes too much. When the pain becomes too much, that's when I change. And I've changed a lot over the years. I'm sure you've seen my shows, you've
Hmm.
heard about me. I change all the time. I try to evolve, I try to get better, I try to improve all the way down, like, I say it all the time. My book's called Flip Your Life. I tell people we're just like a house. People are no different. We all need a remodel. And it doesn't matter how tired and beat up and ragged we are, we can all come back just like a house. I'm proof of that. You guys saw me 10 years ago. I was 60 pounds overweight. I was fighting 2 cancers. I was in and out of surgeries. I was going through major mental health crises because my thyroid was gone. Today, I'm the happiest and healthiest I've ever been in my life. And it came through remodeling myself, just like a house.
Yeah, I love that analogy because it's something I think everybody on here can relate to, right? I think everybody on here is a real estate investor. I'm pretty sure. So they can all relate to that. And I think it's true. I mean, I look, there are only three elements to creating wealth ever, right? That's education, it's access to opportunities, and it's mindset.